I was never really taught music theory, at least not in a classroom setting. My music theory knowledge is completely self-taught, mostly by watching videos online just like you're doing right now. So while I may not possess the same knowledge as someone with a formal education, I do know what it's like to be someone with no prior knowledge looking to learn, and maybe just not knowing where to start. So I'm here to hopefully guide some of you beginners out there as a fellow peer, and attempt to teach you the basics of music theory. To do this, I'm going to split this video up into 4 main sections, where I'll cover what I believe to be the most important aspects someone with little music theory knowledge should learn. Whether you're looking to write your own music, play an instrument, or produce your own songs, I think this video may help you learn a little bit more about music theory. So to begin, let's talk about tempo. Tempo is the pace of a song. Is it fast or is it slow? A beat is a standard unit of time of music. Whenever you tap your feet along to a song, or whenever a metronome ticks, that lands on a beat. The tempo is then measured in BPM, or beats per minute, which determines how many... You get it. In general, a higher BPM means more beats more frequently, resulting in a faster song. Slower BPM makes for a slower song. Generally, you'll work with anywhere from 40 to 250 BPM. These numbers are completely arbitrary, but the point is, you won't ever really have a need for anything outside that range. Time signatures expand upon this and determine how the music is to be counted. These are often written like fractions, with the top number representing how many beats will lie within a bar, and the bottom number determining the length of note to count. The most common time signature is 4/4. This means we count 4 beats in a bar, and the lengths of notes within this bar must add up to the equivalent of 4 quarter notes. Granted, we can use any combination of notes and any combination of rests to fill up this space as long as they add up to the equivalent of 4 quarter notes. Sound confusing? That's because it is. If we were in the time signature 3/4, we would count 3 beats in a bar that are the length of 3 quarter notes. But if we were to double both of these numbers and use 6/8, that's actually different than 3/4, because remember, we're musicians and not mathematicians. If any of this went over your head, just use 4/4. Frequencies. This is a note. A note is comprised of a pitch and a duration. Pitch is the particular frequency of a sound measured in hertz. This determines how high or low a note is. Someone somewhere then decided to assign arbitrary names to pleasant sounding frequency values as the first 7 letters of the alphabet. Any frequency value that is an exact multiple of one of these notes is also considered the same pitch, just played either slower or faster. For example, 440 hertz corresponds to the note A. But so does 880 hertz, since this is the same pitch, just played twice as fast. The gap between these two notes is called an octave. So to distinguish between these two notes, we often call them by their letter name and octave number. 440 hertz in this case is called A4, and is often used as the reference for tuning instruments. Notes! A piano is a good way to visually represent notes, which is often why a piano roll is used in electronic music software as a way to draw in your notes, even if a piano isn't the instrument you're playing. The lowest note on a standard 88-key piano is A0. From there, every white note follows the pattern of B, C, D, E, F, G, and then the next octaves A, repeating until the end. The black keys are named according to their location compared to the key either to their left or right. To handle this, we use fancy terms called sharps and flats. Sharp means we go up to the next closest key, and a flat means we go down to the next closest key. The gap between each key on a piano is called either a half step or a semitone. For example, the black key directly to the right of C is 1 semitone above C, and therefore called C sharp. However, as if this weren't confusing enough already, the same exact note is also called D flat because it lies 1 semitone below D. So now, to really hit it home, let's quickly recap all the notes in any given octave, starting with C, C sharp, D, D sharp, E, F, F sharp, G, G sharp, A sharp, B, bringing us to a grand total of 12 semitones in a single octave. Scales. Scales are a collection of notes that sound good when played together. This note may sound fine by itself, but when played in succession with these other notes, not so much. This is because it's not in the same scale as the other notes, and therefore is considered off-key. The two most common types of scales are major and minor. Major scales generally sound happy, while minor scales sound sad. A scale has a root note, which it's named after. For example, C major, arguably the most popular scale, is a major scale starting at C. This is popular because a C major scale uses only the white keys on the piano. You will recognize this as your do, re, mi's. However, a major scale can be be placed on any root note. A nifty trick to quickly write any major scale is to draw in notes on all the white keys starting from C and ending at C. Then drag that to your desired root note. For example, this is a C major scale, and now this is an E major scale. Similarly, writing a minor scale is as simple as drawing in all the notes on all the white keys starting from A and ending at A. Then drag that to your desired root note. This is an A minor scale, and now this is a G minor scale. Your gut may be telling you that there's no difference between these two scales, since all I did was draw on the white notes, so they're the exact same. The crucial difference here is where I started. The gaps between the white notes will be offset depending on what note I started from. This process can be repeated for each root note. For example, drawing in all the white notes from D to D results in what's called a Dorian scale. But if you're just starting off, I'd recommend sticking with only major and minor scales for now. Chords. Chords are multiple notes played in harmony at the same time. The most common type of chord consists of 3 notes and therefore is called a triad. A chord is named after its root note and its quality. For example, this is a C major chord. An easy way to remember how to make major chords is to pick your root note and draw in another note 4 semitones above that. And then finally, one more 3 semitones above that note, or a total of 7 above your root. Another, even quicker way to remember major triads is to draw in a major scale, using the trick previously described. Let's pretend I want to be in F major. Now, pick any note to be the root of my chord. Let's say A sharp. From here, draw in a note at every other key in the scale moving upwards. In this case, we skip over C, the next highest note in the F major scale, draw in a note at D, skip over E, and draw in a note at F. For this reason, the major chord is referred to having the pattern of 1, 3, 5, since our root is the first note, and from here we use the 3rd and 5th notes in the scale, respectively. We now have an A sharp major chord, and just like magic, it also follows the pattern we previously described, where the gap between the root and the second note is 4 semitones, and the gap between the root and the third is 7. And making minor triad chords is also very similar. In fact, the only difference from a major triad is you drop the second note down by 1 semitone. So to make a B minor chord, for example, draw in your root note at B, move up by 3 semitones, again, rather than 4 in a major chord, and then your third note 4 semitones above that. Again, this is still a total of 7 semitones above your root. From here, we have a B minor chord. And yes, this is still the 1, 3, 5 pattern if you're in a minor scale. The difference between major and minor chords is small in terms of only being off by 1 semitone, but they make a world of difference in the tone they create. From here, chords can be expanded upon to be spiced up a little bit. For example, a C major triad has the notes C, E, G. Recall, these are the 1, 3, and 5 notes in the major scale. If I were to add the note B, this is now a C major 7th chord, since I added in the 7th note in the scale in addition to my triad. From here, you can use the tricks covered in this video to write chord progressions or melodies that are in key and sound good together. And you'll know why. I think that's the best part about music theory. I used to be able to cobble something together when producing music when I didn't even know any music theory, but it would just take way too long and ultimately not even sound that good. However, once I took the time to pick up the basics of music theory, my songwriting improved tenfold. So hopefully this video helped you gain a little bit of knowledge in some sort of aspect. If you want to catch future videos I make just like this one, feel free to subscribe. Otherwise, best of luck. Thanks for watching.